Are we entitled people for ordering gluten-free pizza? Okay, so this happened to me and my friends last weekend. We were having a bachelorette party for my friend and I was in charge for lunch. We were in the middle of activities, so we figured it was easier to just order pizza. This was a small town and around midday, so not that many places were open yet. I call this pizza place right after they opened and ask about gluten-free options and how they prepare it and if they prepare it with separate equipments and in separate ovens. The bride has pretty severe celiac disease and reacts to small amounts and is totally gluten-free. Has separate butter, cutting board and bread knife etc. I order our food and go to pick it up. At the counter the guy starts to give us an attitude like, "So you're a picky person wanting gluten-free," and makes us feel like we're entitled and difficult for ordering GF pizza. We explain that the gluten-free is for someone with celiac disease and that she gets really sick eating contaminated foods. He shows us that the gluten-free pizza is in a tin foil pan, so it's not cooked on the same surface as the regular pizza. All looks good, and then guy finishes with saying, when it's busy we ain't got the time to do all that. We use another dough. But otherwise it's the same as regular pizza. Like WTF? Are we acting entitled or as choosing beggars for wanting gluten-free pizza to be handled separately? I don't usually order gluten-free, so I don't know what the practice usually is. We just didn't want the bride to get sick on her bachelorette party. Edit. Thanks a lot for the feedback. I've been reading a lot on entitled people and on choosing beggars. So I've started to doubt almost every encounter I have. Lol. I'm not American, but will look into who I can contact about this, as it's a health hazard and could potentially cause serious harm. Since writing this post I've tried going gluten-free in my everyday life for a period, cooking at home. Not eating out though, to gain some perspective on how difficult it can be. And I must say that I've gained so much respect for all of you who are gluten intolerant in any way. It's gluten in everything and the free from alternatives are so expensive, so once again, thanks for the feedback and tips. I will definitely have more respect and be more cautious about intolerances and allergies in the future. Yay, I owned a pizza place one upon a time. Pretty sure we served the same gluten-free crust. Was it a pain to prepare? Sure. Did we do it out and away from contaminants even during a rush? You bet we did. If someone says allergy, then we treated it as such and we made a whole deal. Pause the line. Special oven. It's not entitlement. Now having someone order one of each. Say there's a gluten allergy, then eat one of each. That was annoying. But my real gluten-free people loved that we took the time. And really, grand scheme, it ain't that much. This dude sounds like an idiot. They offer to sell it. You buy it and expect it to be the product you bought. They could make people really sick for a long time. If they don't want to do the gluten-free pizza, they shouldn't sell it. Celiac is no joke. Report them to the state health department. Don't fuck with people's food. As a restaurant manager, no, you aren't. This is something that can affect your friend for days afterwards, and if you are paying for GF options, then there needs to be a guarantee of no cross-contamination. Additionally, if you are a paying guest who is ordering off of the menu, you get what you want. The end. I'm lactose intolerant, and when people raise a stink about me asking for no dairy, oh, are you trying to lose weight or something? Who doesn't like cheese? I say it's because I don't want to shit my pants in public, which is something that I actively try to avoid on a daily basis. Shut down their stupidity, and do it with bluntness. Also, report them to the health department. Not remotely entitled. Celiac, allergies, etc. should not be messed with. Jane Doe who is GF for funsies would be entitled. Definitely not entitled. Ye are trying to prevent a person from getting a reaction to the meal. The pizza place needs to be reported as this was dangerous on their behalf. Not the asshole. If they offer gluten-free, they need to be ready for people to ask the questions necessary to keep them healthy. Obviously, that is not a place that cares or who needs your dollar. You are entitled for ordering something they have on their menu which usually costs more in requesting accommodation for a person with allergies. I worked at Papa John's for 5 years. Gluten-free was taken seriously. Vegetarianism was taken seriously. We had separate knives for only gluten-free, vegetarian, and vegan pizzas. We had options in the POS to make these pop up on the make screen and on the labels. Company policy says that if it was made wrong, we owe them a free pizza. We did it right. If it's an option they offer and you didn't demand they accommodate you, then no, you are not entitled. He's being an asshole because too many gluten-free optional people have probably made his life hell. It's always the people that don't need accommodations that make it harder for those that do. Just say to them, don't worry, we won't be back. BC apparently getting food from a place that offers this option is going to whine for a one-off pizza here and there when the person has to watch what they eat every single time so they don't get very sick, and I don't mean a little stomachache, I mean on their ass sick for days sick. So I am sorry, it's a slight inconvenience for you that my friend has this disease. They are the entitled people. You are not at all entitled. What you experienced is the unfortunate social cost of millions of feckless people who don't have celiac disease running around telling everyone they're gluten intolerant for years and expecting it to be treated like a disability. And a pizza guy being rude. Not entitled at all. However, I am celiac. We do have varying degrees of severity of reactions to cross-contamination. But anyone that's sensitive should absolutely not get pizzas from a place that slings flour while making dough. Cross-contamination is absolutely guaranteed. Also, please know that ingestion of gluten for severe celiacs, even small amounts, can cause issues that last for months. It's simply never worth the risk for someone who deals with this. You were trying to protect the health of someone with celiac. The shopkeeper opening himself up for criminal charges if your friend gets really sick or dies from his negligence is his problem. You weren't entitled. He sure acted that way, though. Not the asshole. This is not a request just to follow the latest fad diet trend from the tokes of tick. This is a legitimate health issue. One that can have major consequences. The guy needs to educate himself on the difference. No, I have celiac disease, so gluten-free is a medical necessity. I would go up the chain and report that asshole about his attitude. Celiac disease is not a joke. One of my family member has celiac disease, and every time he ingests gluten, his immune system is attacked. Those attacks leave damages behind that can never heal, so this is permanent and no laughing matters. No, that's not entitled. Unfortunately, most people do not understand celiac disease is not a food intolerance or food allergy. I understand food workers are often overworked and underpaid. However, that was rude of that food worker. If it's too much hassle to make gluten-free food correctly, the restaurant shouldn't offer it. We have a fish and chip shop near me that has a completely separate gluten-free work prep area and utensils. Don't need it myself, but it's amazing how many people in town really appreciated having this option to allow the celiacs in their family to enjoy takeaway. Nothing entitled about it. They offer the option and you purchase what was offered. Why not the asshole? My former boss would break out in hives just walking down the bread aisle of a grocery store. People who don't have serious allergies or dietary restrictions or anything like them do not understand people who do. Edit for grammar. This person shouldn't be in food service, and the pizza place shouldn't be advertising that they have GF if their employees don't bother cooking GF foods correctly. In my state, they'd both be liable if they accidentally sent someone to the business and the negligent employee. What a dick. I'd leave an honest, negative review of your experience. If the business can afford to be rude and condescending to customers, they can afford to handle the consequences. If they're too busy, take it off the menu. It's a food allergy, not someone being difficult like the staff. I'm not a celiac sufferer, but I do feel better when I have a gluten-free option every now and then. A barista at Starbucks introduced me to their gluten-free breakfast sandwich, and I loved it. Hell no, if a place offers gluten-free food, they need to prepare it properly and not act as if you're being an inconvenience. If they don't want to do that, then don't offer it. No, if they offer it, then you get to order it and they get to deal with it. Also, gluten-free pizza crust is amazing. Sounds like that employee is an entitled person who thinks he should just get paid for standing around and doesn't want to, actually work and make pizza. A Yelp review raising awareness of what sounds like an unhealthy disregard for the safety of their customers would be more helpful than a Reddit post. That would be the last time I went there for sure. Why offer it if you don't want to make it? Food allergies aren't funny or no big deal, especially if you're the one with the allergy. You're not being entitled. You're respecting the dietary guidelines of your friend. If anything, that pizza employee is acting like a dick. He should show more compassion and empathy to those who can't eat gluten. I would put in a complaint comment to the manager because allergies are really not something to fuck with and could get everyone involved in serious trouble. I would have asked him, was he so busy he was willing to go to prison for manslaughter? And the shop face fines of $100,000? No. You are not entitled for ordering a food option they offer on their menu and expecting them to prepare it in accordance with standards of safety a reasonable person would associate with that type of item. If they are not capable of providing sanitary conditions to prepare gluten-free food products, then they need to stop offering those products and add a disclaimer to their menu that they are not equipped to handle these issues so customers can make informed decisions about whether to eat there. It being busy isn't your problem, they offer it. And you ordered it, so they should be prepared to make it. Not entitled for wanting gluten-free food. She has a genuine health problem, and celiac disease can cause serious health problems. I can see how from the worker's perspective he might think it unreasonable to expect a store set up to serve a gluten product to offer a gluten-free option. But clearly the owners have correctly decided not to discriminate, and so his job is to provide what's on the menu and do so safely. It's not entitled to expect them to sell what they actually sell. Nor is it entitled to check that their cross-contamination processes are sound. You rightly don't want anyone to get sick. I can't eat gluten. F this worker for acting like this. How about he deal with what I have to go through if I accidentally eat gluten? I can't describe the pain. I'd do anything to avoid it. Helping someone avoid food issues is not entitlement. It is smart and kind. Thanks for letting me know you're not going to do all that. I'll call to see if your bus on. No, wait. I'm not going to do all that. I'll take my money elsewhere. He sounds like a self-absorbed, self-righteous idiot. Not entitled. And I would never patronize that place again, as he is the kind of asshole who would add peanut butter to an allergic person's food to punish them for being difficult. In food service, we treat gluten-free the same way we do any allergy. You are required to clean and sanitize everything before making it. Avoid cross-contamination. It does not matter how slow or busy the place is. It's not just Oh, here's the special crust. That guy was an ass. And the pizza place could get in a lot of trouble if someone has a reaction because they didn't take it seriously. I worked in a sandwich place that is known for speed. Yep, that one. And I was horrified how few people there were even aware of gluten allergies, celiac. I had to explain to people like they were toddlers why it was so important to accommodate these allergies. All of the safety is worth it to protect someone's life and health. So whatever that pizza cook's deal was, he was being entitled, not you. Our oldest daughter has celiac disease, and once she was diagnosed, I can promise that we're very careful about using separate equipment, utensils and surfaces. You're not entitled or a choosy beggar in restaurants, at least those who provide gluten-free options are usually extremely careful to accommodate these requests. I would call the restaurant back to speak with the owner or upper management and report what took place. Your unpleasant encounter and their ignorant response was completely unnecessary and possibly dangerous. Hoping the bride was okay. Guy was a total jerk. Best wishes and many blessings for you and your friends. I'd never go back there. They obviously can't be trusted and don't understand the medical implications of celiac. I wonder what other shortcuts they're willing to take. You are not the assholes. The guy at the pizza joint is. When anyone, has a special dietary need, the people making their food needs to allow for it. Failure to do so can kill someone. You were not entitled. It was on their menu. Right? The attitude of the counter guy would cause me to never order from this place again. And I would also go to all the review boards I use and give the lowest rating possible, explaining the situation. Even if the management wasn't aware of this guy, they can't 100% control his behavior. If I was his manager, it would be instant termination. To knowingly disregard someone's dietary restrictions is asking for trouble. That said, pizza places usually have disclaimers posted regarding risk because flour can become airborne and there is typically high cross-contamination. Face with rolling eyes. If making gluten-free pizza is so difficult, then it shouldn't be on their menu. The counter guy was entitled. Not you. No. You're not entitled at all. I hope you complain about that person for being unprofessional and rude. About allergies. Heck, allergies can kill people. Celiac is no joke. My mom can't have gluten either. I've seen what it does. It's awful. I hope you enjoyed your pizza and no one got sick. That's not entitled. And leave a clear Google review on that company's listing so people won't end up in the hospital. Some go GF for a diet or whatever is popular to do. Those are the ones that can get entitled about, like with some vegans. Most need it due to celiacs, and it can really affect them badly depending on the person. My cousin has it and is allergic to 19 different things and went vegetarian because of it. It doesn't matter if it's more work or a in customer service job and you have to pay attention to stuff like that or possibly lose your job. Not at all. It's a pretty basic request. Pizza dude was just an asshole. I don't think all people realize how serious celiac disease and other allergies can be. I certainly don't know all the hazards of every allergy. If some food made me as sick as what some of you describe, I would totally give up that food and be hyper vigilant about cross-contamination. I would never trust a commercial pizza oven or prep area to be free of cross-contamination. You advise them of the medical problem. They agree to offer the solution. Then they serve something that causes a reaction because they didn't prepare it like they said they would. Would you like to own their pizza shop? Because they've got a negligence program. I don't even have celiac. I'm just severely allergic to wheat, soy, and nuts among lots of other things, and this has happened to me. How dare I want to eat bread without dying? I'd put in an anonymous report to the health department that they're not handling GF properly. Not entitled. Complain to the manager. This is a medical condition, not a simple choice. If it's so difficult to do GF, he could have said we don't have that option and moved on. You're not entitled, but at the same time, he's not necessarily wrong either. Many businesses can't afford the extra prep, time, or space to completely separate gluten-free, vegan, whatever dietary restriction you need. As long as they're upfront about their compliance or lack thereof, nobody should feel put out. Don't feel bad for ordering something that's on the damn menu. No. Not entitled at all. For people who have celiac disease, even a small amount of gluten can sometimes be very damaging. You phoned in advance and asked, politely, if they had GF food available. You explained the situation and why it was important. Now, if you'd said nothing and then had a fit when they served conventional food, or if they said no, they didn't have GF options and then you threw a fit, that would have been entitled. You called and asked, they could have said no. You are definitely not entitled. No, not the asshole. If they can't take the hassle, they shouldn't offer the option. Not entitled. Especially if the gluten-free option was more expensive than the regular and you didn't complain about that. They are specifically more expensive because the ingredients are more expensive and they should have a safe table oven to prepare it on. If they offer the option, and you happily pay for it, they should not complain about it when you order it. Not entitled. Bit I'd never order GF pizza for a celiac sufferer unless the whole place was GF. There's just so much flour in a pizza shop. Plus GF pizza often sucks. I'd order Thai or sushi. Something that's naturally GF. Nah. I'd report them to the management and probably take it further. She didn't choose to deal with celiac like it was sort of some fad. If it is offered on the menu, you shouldn't be razzed when you pick it up. My mom can die from gluten and has celiac disease. He could kill someone. This just makes me so angry. Assuming you hadn't paid yet, I would have left then and there and gotten something else to eat. I feel dumb for typing this. But no, you're not entitled for trying to keep your friend out of the hospital. If he has a problem with GF food at any time, then why is he making it available? What a wanker. It's not entitlement to want to pay someone for safe food to eat. Personally, I'd cross that place off my list. What a garbage company. My wife is allergic to gluten. Either do it right or don't do it. No way. Depending on how bad they react to it can and has killed people. You were absolutely doing the right thing. Not the asshole. I worked at a place that was like Subway but pizza. If we made a gluten-free pizza, they had their own pans and we had to swap gloves before starting to make it. But we made sure that no cross-contamination happened. I used to work in kitchens and I take allergies very serious, so there is no cross-contamination. I have, however, gone and chatted with tables to confirm if they have allergies or if they just don't want something. If they are GF without allergies, I will not worry about contamination. If it is a true allergy, I will go above and beyond for them. Side note: if you are allergic to gluten, just don't order pizza. There is so much flour around a pizza shop, it would be extremely hard to avoid cross-contamination. I don't think you are entitled though. The person who served you is just rude. For a celiac, fuck no. I've been in industrial food prep in various places, be it for supermarkets or airlines, for decades. You don't mess around with allergens. The fines are eye-watering because allergies can be fatal. Y'all are not entitled because you didn't demand they change how they operate. You asked how they operate. You also didn't want your GF pizza made separate out of preference but out of safety. Y'all are good, but next time, go somewhere else if possible because this guy's attitude sucks. Gluten-free pizza is an item on their menu that they sell. It's no different from any other item that they sell. Are you an entitled person or a choosing beggar if you get a Hawaiian instead of plain cheese? It's more difficult to make. And, by the way, if you pay full price for something, you are not a beggar. Choosing or no, the pizza guy is a jerk and he's undermining the business. So I'd complain to the owner. They're probably just annoyed by the trendy GF people where it's just a preference, not an allergen. Nonetheless, they still shouldn't fuck with people's food. Give folks what they pay for. That's the job. No celiacs in our family, but regular wheat gives my wife intestinal issues. She won't die if she eats it, but man is she miserable. Headaches too. My eldest kid had behavioral and physical issues when he ate wheat when younger. We would hear about half an hour after having wheat, "My tummy hurts." Eczema on his face would break out. And would be acting out. Every time. We put 2 and 2 together around 6 years old. Not gonna lie, it was rough for a while. You aren't being entitled. If they don't want to accommodate, other places will. I mean, not entitled but pretty stupid. Don't ever order from a pizza joint when someone with celiacs is eating. The risk of cross-contamination is unreal high. Flour gets into the air during pizza dough prep, and even if they use the gluten-free ingredients, there could be gluten everywhere and harm your friend. How could you ever be entitled for ordering an item off the menu? No, not entitled at all. You should make a complaint about that worker. He had no right being so rude like that. Just an FYI. You can sue places like that if anything does happen. I'd call a health inspector or report them or something. Would be nice if you could get a recording. Just a note: entitled people rarely think they're entitled. Being a lazy poss is the entitlement. Pizza places don't have to have GF options. They choose to do that. Assuming you have celiac problems, so no. This is why I warned one of the food moms this week regarding pizza. I knew the company they order from doesn't follow strict cross-contamination protocol, especially when they're making 50 pizzas just for our program. She ended up getting salad instead for gluten-free kids. Found out one isn't a salad fan, and I'll probably bring him snacks since I have celiacs and know how to not cross-contaminate with other household members. If I eat gluten, I get massive bloat and constipation. Fuck feeling entitled. I don't want the pain. Also, I had some bread at a Romanian restaurant today and God, I'm feeling it. My father, my nephew, and I all have celiac. I follow the diet very strict, as one has to be. My nephew is a kid, so my brother and Sil still prepare his meals and buy his GF snacks for him. My dad is a stubborn old sob, diagnosed late in life and refuses to follow the diet. He's in a wheelchair now. This inflammatory disease is no joke. Over time, the peripheral neuropathy will immobilize you. I am not celiac, but I am heavily gluten intolerant and lactose intolerant, so pizza destroys my stomach. So ordering gluten-free pizza does not make you entitled, it make you a good friend. I know if I had to eat pizza, I'd prefer it gluten-free. Nah, he's being rude AF. My BF is lactose intolerant, so we always make sure there's no cross-contamination because it'll make him sick. There's enough knowledge on dietary restrictions now that server guy's attitude is just his own ignorance and rudeness. Not entitled, and that restaurant can have a lovely lawsuit I'm sure the mom and pop owners can't afford. Dealing with allergies in a restaurant is having to do extra work. Sure, but people with legit allergies and medical issues that change their diet deserve to have eat out options, too. They didn't pick their allergies and reactions. This is an example of people not taking it seriously as a food intolerance, period, and assuming it's just preference. It would almost be better to not serve GF option at all if they aren't going to commit to it. Fuck them. You asked if they had gluten-free. They said yes. You ordered it, paid, and it's yours. If they don't want to serve gluten-free pizza, they shouldn't fucking offer it on the menu. Not the asshole. My ex has celiac. When we went out for her 21st birthday a few weeks after her diagnosis, the end of the night was spent her puking her guts out and getting really sick and weak because the restaurant we went to used breaded chicken in her food. It sucked for her and ruined her milestone day. Don't feel guilty for making sure that food isn't the reason the bride's day is ruined. The correct response is to research gluten-free restaurant options before arriving. It's amazing to me that you called a pizza place and they even had time to have a conversation about gluten-free options, let alone having them to sell. Yes, you are entitled for thinking that you could make that decision on the fly. It is not any business's responsibility to cater to restrictions or allergies. And you basically called the allergen factory to see if they could provide something for someone extremely sensitive. You know what's consistently gluten-free? Salad. Op is not entitled, but is getting undue treatment from the workers dealing with entitled people. Don't put it on the menu if you don't want to serve it, plus the extra price justifies this. When you have dietary restrictions due to a medical condition, no, it's not entitlement. Though to be fair, some use it as such. In your case though, no, I don't think so. Is it on the menu? Then you are not entitled, and the staffer who gave you a hard time is way out of line. I would talk to the manager. That's because the PPL who don't eat gluten as a trend have severely damaged our credibility when we who have celiac disease order and PPL get an attitude or doesn't give a rat's ass about contamination, cause they have encountered too many PPL example who order a gluten-free pizza and the kitchen put in extra work for that and suddenly see the same person eating from someone else's plate with a regular full gluten pizza. After that have happened too much, they either doesn't believe anyone or doesn't care about contamination anymore. Yes, it's obnoxious and entitled to expect a small town pizza place to use a different oven for gluten-free pizza. If you want something that's gluten-free, maybe don't go to a restaurant that specializes in gluten. Then again, he should have just said no and not taken your order. Not the asshole. My friend gets hives on her lips if her husband eats something with gluten at work. Comes home and kisses her hours later. 100. Not the asshole. I blame all these people claiming allergies when they just don't like something. These places have GF options for a reason. Shame on that worker for making you feel like you did something wrong for taking them up on a service they provide. As someone in customer service, that worker was the you're a customer. It's not your fault if they get busy and you need your food prepared a certain way. You did the most courteous thing and called as soon as they opened. That guy was a tool. You are not entitled as you actually needed a GF pizza. The reason they gave you attitude is due to all the fad dieters that are gluten-free ordering and then eating the bread when it comes out. So they are putting kitchens through hell for no real reason. Same reason entitled pet owners have emotional support animals so they can take their pet anywhere, which causes issues for the people that actually require a service animal. It's just the entitled spoiling it for the people that actually require something for real medical, etc. needs, not made up shit. What an ignorant piece of shit. It's frightening when people roll their eyes at real actual medical things that they feel compelled to have an opinion about. We use another dough, but otherwise it's the same as regular pizza. That's the fucking point. You dolt. Op. You are definitely not behaving like an entitled person. It's not an extreme request. There are a lot of celiacs in the world, and for them, gluten is actually dangerous. This was a perfectly reasonable accommodation for you to ask them to make. If it's that much trouble for them, then the place just shouldn't offer a GF option. You can't offer something on your menu and then bitch when people order it. Frankly, I'd be leaving a review of the place. And it wouldn't be a good one. Cross-contamination is real and is covered during food handling certifications. That employee is an absolute asshole and idiot. I'd mention it to management. If it's on the menu, how does that make you entitled? If you can't offer 100 celiac deathly allergy-friendly stuff, then you offer low gluten. I'm lucky enough that low gluten is enough for me. Low gluten is enough for a lot of people. And it makes it more meaningful when people confirm gluten-free. I currently work in pizza right now. I gotta say no. You aren't in the wrong for ordering gluten-free. It's on the menu and it was required for someone to enjoy their food. Also, if that employee did actually say all that stuff to you, speak with their supervisor manager and calmly and collectedly explain what had transpired. I'd fire that awful employee on the spot. If it's such a problem, then why offer it? I would ask when is their busy rush hour so not to order it again. Then of course order it during rush hour and not even pick it up. Chef here, the service guy would be fired at my work. Celiac is a very serious illness. Not like yesterday when a customer was very specific asking about the gluten-free options and checking the meal was gluten-free. She then proceeded to have sticky toffee pudding as a little won't hurt pensive face. No. Celiac is still not well known in the US. Much more likely to be diagnosed in Europe. The response is for my friend. Even a speck of flour can send her to the hospital. Please look up celiac disease. If you are cross-contaminating, please stop saying you can offer gluten-free. You are putting people in great gastrointestinal distress. Pizza guy was a dick, that's all. Not the asshole. Sorry if I sound like an asshole. But just order something with no wheat? I wouldn't put my health in jeopardy by trusting some pizza joint to respect my specific diet. No way. From experience, you don't order gluten-free pizza unless you need it. Also, that member of staff who ridiculed you is doing his restaurant a disservice, as if you accommodate gluten-free pizza, then that's where groups with gluten-free people will go. Not entitled. The guy sounded like an ignorant jerk. I would put what he said in a rating for them so other celiacs know. Nah. Some people don't know it's not just a dietary fad. So it's not out of line that he was annoyed having to do so many extra steps. And it is a fair warning to explain that they don't have time to do those extra steps. He could have had a little courtesy, but I guarantee you he's making dimes on the dollar. Not entitled to avoid making your friend sick. Of course. No, you're not entitled, but he's an AH. Actual celiac folks have gotten grouped with too many people who claim gluten-sensitivity because of a bro-science social media post they saw. I'm not diagnosed celiac, but get very sick if I eat it. You're not entitled. Just a great friend and should find a better pizza place after reporting that behavior to the owner. Manager. Not following food safety procedures can be fatal to their customers. My best friend gets sick if they have prepared something with gluten in the same space. It's incredibly insensitive for them to literally purposely be giving people food with a known allergen. You are not entitled. The problem is that gluten-free has become trendy, so people who aren't allergic order that and don't need it, so people don't realize how serious it really is. This is nowhere near entitled. You're asking for medical accommodation. I get it. Restaurants can get busy. And you can't bake a pizza fast enough during peak hour, but if they can't accommodate you in the first place, they should have not taken the order. You're not entitled. But if someone is celiac and very sensitive, then pizza is usually a bad choice. There's far too much cross-contamination at a regular pizza place. Hey, if they don't want to make GF pizza, take it off the menu. Don't give grief to the people who order it. There's no future in being rude to your customers. I didn't put a gluten-free options on your menu. You did. Glad you did though, because otherwise my friend wouldn't have been able to eat with a smile. I watched my friend with celiacs do basically this once and I wanted to stand and cheer. Absolutely not. My grandma couldn't have any gluten when she was dying from pancreatic cancer. People shouldn't judge without knowing someone's health background. If someone said that to me if I was picking her dinner up while she was at home suffering, I would have been beside myself. Whether it's an allergy, some other digestive-related health issue. You never know. Oof. No. No. You're absolutely not. If it was a preference then maybe. But not in this case. I used to cook in a kitchen and used to roll my eyes at gluten-free folk. Until I sent someone to the hospital by ambulance. They're okay. But the reaction was terrifying with swelling, rashes and severe nausea. It was a real eye-opener. I don't even know where the gluten came from as I do roll my eyes. But still take it seriously enough to sanitize all surfaces before doing gluten-free anything. That was 10 years ago. I still feel terrible, but am much more aware now. Not a gluten-free issue but something similar. I'm a type 1 diabetic. To keep my sugar in check I don't have drinks with sugar. I drink unsweet tea, water or diet drinks. I've been doing this so long I can taste it when there is sugar in my beverage. It's happened a few times and it is usually fixed with no problems, but every now and then when the mistake is made and I ask for a new one they roll their eyes and act like I'm the most entitled person on earth. I then explain my issue and they start falling over themselves apologizing. It just baffles my mind. You're not entitled at all. There's a genuine medical reason. And even if it was simply personal preference, you're not throwing a tantrum over it that makes my 1-year-old nephew look like a mature adult. It's just a shame the guy at the pizza place can't act the same way. Not entitled at all. Well, if you're too busy just let me know and I'll take my money to service more capable of accommodating my requests. I would never give them my business again. I am lucky enough to have endometriosis, not celiac, so I can handle a little bit of cross-contamination, but I have friends with kids who can't. Do the community a favor? Download Find Me Gluten Free from your app store and give them a bad rating? I'm curious what the answers were like over the phone. Overall, no. You are not entitled for wanting to make sure the bride didn't have some kind of reaction. If it's such a pain in the ass to make, why do they offer gluten-free? If you offer to provide it, put it on the menu. Do it right and don't complain about it. There is nothing entitled about ordering something on their menu and being protective of the bride. It's called being a good friend. No, there is nothing entitled about special orders like that if it's on the menu. The restaurant should obviously understand people are going to order it. That part is common sense. What I do think is wrong is the idea of ignoring the stated ingredients when it's clearly posted. There is a huge level of entitlement there. For example, the place I work at had so many people ordering lettuce wraps and no bun they literally had to prep for it. Even now it's not on the menu, but people will order it several times a day. It's maybe people who need to be GF should just not eat pizza unless they make it themselves. Or go someplace that for sure is GF restaurant. If you are so worried allergic, better make sure before planning bachelorette weekend that food needs can be accommodated. As a celiac, I'd say no. We also deserve delicious food, lol. Not entitled at all. When I was a chef and someone came in with celiac disease, I would sit down with them and go through the menu to work out the best options for them. We had a section of the prep kitchen that was GF only. It had everything needed to make sure there was no cross-contamination. Absolutely not entitled. It's your health because of the stigma. However, I would specify that one of you is celiac. Not just to avoid being mistaken for a random gluten-free almond mom, but also so they make sure not to cross-contaminate. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but working in customer service myself, I've had people order GF and eat all options available. For some customers, GF is more of a diet fad thing. Unfortunately, it can lead to complacent staff not believing that 90% of the population has a gluten allergy. Most customers say this. No. If they offer a gluten-free option, absolutely not. They shouldn't offer gluten-free if they can't handle it. Absolutely no one is going to eat gluten-free who doesn't need to. I need to. Not entitled. I have a celiac friend. She wanted to show me how bad it was. She took a sip of beer and I watched a red, itchy-looking rash bloom across her chest in real time. I was horrified. That place could have said no and told you to order elsewhere. He can fuck himself. Last week I was looking for a hair shop that would install these impossibly tiny braids into my hair. I went into 3 shops. The first 2 were like, oh no, we don't do that. The third named her price. Whatever she said was more than reasonable. And everyone was happy. That's how you do your business. Are you entitled for expecting a restaurant to respect your expressly stated allergy as they are required to do by the health code? No. That guy was a jackass, and if she got sick, I'd be finding a lawyer. I'd also post reviews everywhere letting people know what happened. Gluten isn't the only allergy, and people with allergies or loved ones with gluten issues will want to know how disrespectfully they'll be treated at this establishment. Make sure you leave a Google review for them. The restaurant should just say, sorry, we cannot comply with your needs if they don't want to serve what you need. Not accept the order and be a jerk about it. My wife is lactose intolerant. The amount of places that very clearly did not use lactose-free milk is unreal. Now that's a simple thing. So I assume those places would be even worse with gluten. No, you're not acting entitled. You're trying to prevent a health catastrophe. Not entitled. You're being picky because your friend can't handle gluten. Nothing wrong with looking out for a friend. Are we entitled people for ordering gluten-free pizza? Yes. A normal pizza interaction is, I'd like a large pepperoni pizza. Okay, it will be ready in 15-20 minutes. The bride doesn't even have a gluten sensitivity. She's just a pain in the ass. Every single restaurant loathes dealing with you. Please just start cooking at home.